Welcome here to our webinar on our latest feature called peer learning and social learning. Thank you so much, first of all, for those who are there for joining the webinar. My name is Maria, and I also have Jenny with me here, who is our instructional designer in the Australian office. And yeah, as discussed today, we'll be discussing our latest feature, peer learning, both from like a strategic point of view as well from a practical point of view. And yeah, Jenny will show you in the authoring tool how you can set up peer authoring and how it could look like on yeah, for your learners. So general introduction to EdApp, for those of you who might not be super aware to us. We are a mobile-first microlearning platform with an integrated authoring tool. The authoring tool will allow you to create your own custom content, whereas the mobile application will allow you to push that out to your learners in a very engaging way, with great enhancement features such as gamification, but also our latest feature called peer learning. Yeah, we've got 3 offices, one here in Australia, here in Sydney. We also have one in the UK and in the States in New York. And yeah, on average, we've got about 35,000 lessons that are being completed on the platform every day. So we are very much a growing business and leading the conversation in microlearning and in mobile first learning. Yeah, so let me just start with, you know, a general introduction of peer learning and what it is and why it is so important. So peer learning is peer learning and social is an actual educational practice in which students interact with other students to attain educational goals. And hence peer-to-peer learning can be a very powerful feature and development tool that breaks through some of the common barriers to skill building, and also it has other benefits as well. And because 55%, or yeah, a study by Degree has shown that 55% of workers turn actually to their peers first before asking their bosses, it doesn't, yeah, it kind of makes sense that some of the most progressive companies like, you know, Google, for example, have already implemented peer learning a long time ago. And as I said, they've got great reasons to do so. Yet many organizations have yet to create like a formal structure for peer learning. So by a recent study done by McKinsey on learning and development officers, there was a report that while classroom training and experiential training and on-the-job application of skills are now in regular use, less than actually half of organizations have instituted any kind of formal peer-to-peer learning so far. And even worse, only 1 in 3 of the respondents said that organizations don't even have any systems in place to share learning amongst employees. Yeah, so we were sort of thinking, you know, if peer learning is such a great feature, why hasn't this been implemented to more organizations just yet? And I guess research has suggested that managers are often reluctant to sort of establish a formal peer-to-peer learning thing, primarily because of the perception that experts outside of the organization are more valuable as teachers than those inside it, which to me sounds pretty crazy. And in addition to that, even those organizations that actually do believe in the idea of peer learning, they often say, you know, we've got such a dispersed workforce, which makes it very difficult for them to actually bring together all these peers into one classroom and have peer-to-peer learning in a very efficient way. I mean, I guess we all know how expensive this can be. But yeah, the benefits, I guess, to peer-to-peer learning are very clear. So, you know, first, peer-to-peer learning taps into the expertise that already exists in your organization. So, yeah, I also like to think about all of the smart people that that you hire and surround yourself with every day, and how much could be gained if those peers share their expertise with each other to learn and build new skills. So an example that I often use is about, you know, think about a German car manufacturer you know, an engineer that builds a car in Germany. He might know all of the sort of technical aspects of a engine, but that's not necessarily the best way to also sell that product in the outback here in Australia. So like someone that works in a local car dealer here in the outback in Australia might have a completely different way of selling something, and because these people are in such different locations and knowledge is not shared between them, that's basically a shame. So if we use peer-to-peer learning here, you sort of unlock that potential in your own organization. And yeah, that really helps to share that knowledge in your organization. Besides that, I guess unlike some learning methods like exams or high pressure and demonstration of skills, we see that peer-to-peer learning also creates a space where the learner can feel safe, taking risks without the sense that their boss is sort of evaluating their performance while they're learning. So I guess you're more likely to have like a candid conversation about areas you need to develop with a peer, compared to someone that might hold over, might have power over your career or your income. So I guess in peer-to-peer learning, the dynamics of hierarchy sort of disappear. And I guess also unlike other methods like classroom lectures or online compliance training, peer-to-peer learning also provides a very structured opportunity to have these discussions to begin with. Also, and I guess this is one benefit that's super clear, is that people are more likely to just participate, learn, and remember new skills if they are learned in the course of addressing a real-life challenge. So often, it makes sense that if you want to learn something, it needs to sort of have an impact on your job. Whereas if you learn something from a theory, it might not necessarily be super useful to your situation. So by having I guess real-world simulations and situations, that really helps to sort of engage your learners and make them feel like this is something that could be very useful to their jobs. Not only that, you also have, not only the fact that you have to ensure that knowledge is shared when you've got a organization with a very dispersed workforce, but also we often see like knowledge actually leaving the business as soon as an employee leaves the company. And yeah, finally, I also wanted to tap into a benefit where peer-to-peer learning is also just very, I guess, naturally, uniquely well suited to the way that we learn. So people gain new skills best in any situation that includes all 4 stages of what we call the learning loop, which is, where stage 1 is to gain knowledge, to then apply the knowledge, to receive feedback, and to actually reflect on what's learned. So think about an organization, like hypothetically speaking, of a girl named Kelly. She might be head of sales in an organization named X. Let's assume that her team created a peer-to-peer learning program designed around the company's key negotiation principles. I guess one section of the program could be focused on, having these difficult conversations where each participant would sort of been asked to like identify a real life difficult negotiation that they need to have with their customers, and especially those that they might have been avoiding for over a long time. So I guess in stage 1, what you could do is have that knowledge transfer first. So that's where you sort of say, this is a theory about negotiation. This is the organization's key negotiation principles. Whereas in stage 2, you would then apply that knowledge, and you can use peer learning to do so by simulating a situation where employees put that theory into practice by practicing with each other. And then in stage 3, you can use social learning to then have other peers actually comment on the simulations that your peers have provided to sort of give each other feedback. And stage 4 is the reflection. So you can use survey templates then to actually have, to sort of reflect on how things are going. So I guess very important is obviously to you is how does that work in practice? So as you can see on my screen, we have broken down these 4 stages, which I just talked to you about, into different templates. So again, stage 1 is where you gain knowledge. So you can see here that we have used a video template. So you could upload, for example, a video about a theory of negotiation. Then in the second, on the second screen, you'll see a slide where you see our peer learning feature in action. So as you can see a video that's been uploaded by a peer, and then you can see that on the third box there's like a have your say, where other peers are actually commenting on that video that's been provided by one of their colleagues. And as you can see, that really generates and sparks that conversation and creates that learning culture within your organization. And then to close this loop, we would recommend to close off with a reflection, which in this case would be a survey template. So as you can see on the screen, this is where you can say, I feel more confident and armed with techniques that I can implement in similar negotiation situations after I've completed this lesson. And that's a great way, for you to put this theory into practice. So I think having this on a mobile phone, this whole situation of peer learning, and that said, I don't want to say that it not always has to take part into a classroom, but I think having this peer learning on a mobile phone makes complete sense. The reason why is here at EdApp we've always believed in in mobile learning as a way to engage your learners and to allow them to do their learning anytime and anywhere. This is, I just wanted to emphasize that this is not just a millennial thing, because in fact 1 in 3 Instagram users nowadays is over 35 years of age. And to be honest, that doesn't really surprise me, because I think that my parents are actually spending more time on Instagram nowadays than I do. But the example that we provided earlier about the simulation of a negotiation skill is just one of the many examples of how your organization can actually implement peer learning. So another example that I guess I should say in our discussion with our clients when we were developing this feature, we sort of came across more and more use cases of how peer learning could be implemented. And one feature scenario that really stood out to me was the fact that, for example, think about a warehouse situation where you've got employees that pick and pack certain products and prepare them for shipping to their customers. You might even have a warehouse employee actually film themselves and show how they actually pick and pack in the most efficient way for a company. And so, as you can see, there's so many different ways that this feature could be implemented in an organization, depending on obviously the vertical, the industry that you might be operating, the culture within your organization, etc., etc. And hence, we also, we understand that this feature might not suit all organizations. I just want to sort of say that you need to have a certain learning culture in place already to be able to implement this feature in a great way. And not every organization is the same. And I just wanted to tell you that we're here to help. We understand that it's a challenging approach, and we would be more than happy to sit down with you and your organization to see how this could be put in place within your organization and in your scenario, if that makes sense. So that was a very brief overview of peer learning from sort of a strategic and theoretical point of view. But I think more importantly is also, how does this actually work on the mobile phone? How does this work on the authoring tool? So I'd like to hand this over to Jenny now, and she will show you exactly how that's been done.
Thank you, Maria. And so to start off by creating lessons utilizing our peer authoring features, I'm going to show you a course. So let's jump into this negotiation course that Maria has mentioned earlier. And before I jump in and show you the final product from a learner's perspective, I want to show you how you can implement these features in our authoring tool. So as you can see on the preview panel on the far left-hand side, this is what your learner sees. So this is essentially a mobile preview, a live preview. And over here, I've created an image slider. So essentially, this works as a way to activate prior knowledge by priming students for the upcoming content in this lesson. So you could include things like the learning outcomes and the kind of things that we might dive into throughout the lesson. And so essentially, I've just uploaded an image background, put in a bit of text just in regards to the learning outcome. And if we scroll up, you see this kind of segues into the next part of the lesson, which is what Maria mentioned earlier, stage 1 of the learning loop. So stage one, it was a video, and essentially what I've done is I've used our knowledge transfer template, which in this case is a video slide, and I've dragged and dropped a video that contains content. But what I want to show you is the wide variety of knowledge transfer templates that we have. So if I click on this add a new slide button, you'll see that we have a whole range of different ways we can introduce this content. So this could be as an image gallery, a bit of text with images, and videos like we see here. And then finally, part two of the lesson, which taps into stage two of the learning loop, is kind of structuring it in a way so that learners can apply the knowledge that they've learned in the previous slides into their work lives. So over here, we've implemented a social learning feature. So this social learning feature can also be applied to any of the content slides that I showed you just then. So to do that, we simply click on any slide. And what I've done is I've enabled this social learning. So by ticking this open for discussion, I can encourage learners to input their feedback. And as you can see on screen, I've included a question as a prompt for them to answer. So moving on to stage three of the learning loop, this is all about gaining feedback. So for this part of the slide, we're introducing the role-playing activity here. So I've detailed that below, where colleagues have to work together to film themselves overcoming this negotiation roadblock. And so after they do this, they hit continue. Learners will be able to film themselves and really easily upload that scenario onto the phone and have their peers and their colleagues comment on it and give each other feedback. And how I've customized this slide is by adding some custom text to the title. So what I've done here essentially is I've input the I've kind of summarized the text we saw earlier in here. So I've gone in and I've kind of given them a prompt to upload their video onto this page. And as you can see here, there's like a little demo of how it would look like for the learners. And then finally, stage four of the lesson, which relates back to the learning loop, is the need for reflection. So this is a numeric slider, and what each and every learner can do is they can input their own their feedback on how confident they felt after going through this activity. And as you can see, it's really easy to customize. Like the previous templates, you can really easily change the text here. And you'll notice that if I say, for example, get rid of this part of it, the sentence, it updates automatically in the preview panel. And I can very easily set the max and the minimum values that appear on this scale. And likewise, I can change the text that appears down below. So let's move on. I wanted to show you what this would look like from a learner's perspective. So if I share my mobile screen, okay. So as a learner, this is what I see. So when I get onto my mobile phone, I can click into the app and you'll see that I can navigate. I immediately come onto this courses page, and from there I'm going to click into the negotiation lesson. And you notice there's a little introduction to the lesson, and I'm going to click onto the lesson. And from this interface, you can see that there are a few comments already on the social learning slides. So I'm simply going to hit Start Lesson. And as I navigate through this, you can see that our interface is very intuitive. So participants can really easily type in a comment like so. Nice. Hit send, and it'll appear immediately. Now, one cool feature, much like most social media programs or apps, is the ability to like each other's comments. So if you found a piece of advice particularly helpful, you can either respond to them or you can like their comment. So let's move on. So this is a role-playing activity, and let's have a look at how a learner can interact with this. So as a learner, I can see that a few of my peers have already filmed themselves demonstrating different sales negotiation techniques, and I can scroll up and down. I can even have a look at the comments that have been added. So for example, someone else has already said that the strategy was really helpful and that they're going to incorporate it into their next sale. So let's So as a learner, as you can see the upload now button. So that's a really easy way, an intuitive way. So it's just one button and the learner can navigate to the video that they want to upload on their phones. And with a single click, they can upload a video onto our platform. Now I'm going to hit done, and I'm going to input my response to this lesson. So what I wanted to show you next was the analytics that we can pull from these two features, or three features actually. So we've got our peer learning feature, our social learning feature, and our survey template. Switch over. So as an admin, you can really easily navigate to the social learning feature. And as you can see here, you can see all the courses that have comments on them. And if I click into this negotiation section, I can view the discussion line. So this feature is particularly helpful for moderating the comments. So it's really easy to remove a comment if you find it inappropriate just by clicking this button. What you can also do is you can also jump into the surveys. So as you can see, you can scroll down and you'll see all the different lessons. And if we click into the negotiation lesson, you can see that I've inputted 4 as my answer, and this is the mean and the medium and the max of the lesson. You can also export all these responses as a CSV, so you can have a look and pull some data out of it in Excel. So that's really easy. You can click onto this button and download it. And the last analytic feature I wanted to show you was for peer authoring. So that was the video feature that all the learners could, where all the learners could upload their own videos. So I'm simply going to hit the engage button, scroll all the way down to peer authoring, and click on that. And I'm going to view all these submissions. So much like the social learning feature, you can see that I can remove certain comments, and I can also view the videos that they've uploaded. Cool. So this brings us to the end of our authoring demo. I wanted to see if anyone had any questions for either Maria or myself.
Yeah, okay. If no one has any questions,